Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're looking at some pretty wild stuff happening in the crypto world. You've probably seen the headlines: Bitcoin over 90,000, total market cap topping 3 trillion, first time since 2021. Oh, and Elon Musk is back to pumping Dogecoin.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot happening at once. The timing is really interesting, isn't it? Right after Trump wins the election, bam, crypto goes crazy.
Right. A lot of people are saying Trump being back could mean a much friendlier environment for crypto. Maybe that's why everyone's so bullish right now.
It's a popular theory, for sure.
Hmm.
We should take a closer look, though. Remember, Trump had some, well, unique ideas about Bitcoin last time he was in office. Like, he wanted a U.S. Bitcoin reserve, even thought about using it to deal with national debt.
Whoa, those are some bold ideas. And now Musk is actually advising Trump on, well, they're calling it government efficiency. So, could these two actually team up to make crypto mainstream in the US?
It's definitely possible, and I bet that's what a lot of these traders are thinking, too. But we need to look deeper into the actual policies they might be expecting.
Absolutely. Trump likes Bitcoin. Doesn't really tell us the whole story, does it? We got to figure out what his stance was before and how realistic any of that is now.
Right, like think about it. Making a U.S. Bitcoin reserve, that would be huge GE. Could shake up global finance, even mess with the dollar's power. That's a massive change. Not sure if Trump would really go for it this time.
Great point. So yeah, Trump might have said some stuff that made crypto folks happy before, but actually making those policies happen, that's a whole other story.
For sure. And don't forget, less regulation isn't always good either. Sure, maybe it helps new stuff get made, but it could also be bad for investors, make the market less stable.
It's a tough balance, right? You want this new industry to grow, but you got to protect people too.
Exactly. Finding that balance is key, and it'll be interesting to see how Trump handles it, especially with Musk advising him.
Speaking of Musk, let's talk about his latest Dogecoin love fest. Seems like every time he tweets about it, the price goes up. This time, he's all about its flat inflation, says that's a good thing.
That's interesting, right? Because regular currencies have inflation, they lose value. Dogecoin, though, it makes new coins at a set rate every year. So that's the flat inflation he means.
But isn't predictable inflation usually seen as good for a currency? How's Dogecoin different?
Now that's where it gets interesting. Musk seems to think this flat inflation makes Dogecoin more stable, more transparent even. Maybe even more than the dollar, that's what he's saying.
Whoa, that's a big statement. What do people say against that?
Some economists say this limited inflation could actually hold Dogecoin back compared to currencies that can adjust. The idea is that a fixed rate might not work so well if the economy changes a lot.
So, is Musk saying Dogecoin's better for holding value than regular currencies?
Well, it's not quite that simple. Musk's saying the fixed rate is good, it's predictable, you know what you're getting. But there's a whole debate about the best inflation for a currency. Lots of people disagree with him.
It's wild how these discussions are happening in the crypto world. It feels like everything's changing so fast.
Absolutely. And this leads us to something else interesting. Dogecoin's co-creator, Billy Marcus, responded to Musk. He basically said if the Dogecoin community wanted to change the inflation rate, they could propose it.
He's really emphasizing that the community controls Dogecoin, which is very different from Bitcoin, where the supply is fixed and making changes is way harder.
So it's either different philosophies, right?
Totally different approaches. Bitcoin is all about not changing, being decentralized. Dogecoin, though, it's more about the community deciding what happens.
So we've got Bitcoin maybe getting a boost from political changes and Dogecoin riding the Musk wave with its community focus. What does all this mean for their prices?
Well, look at Bitcoin, up 20% in a week. That's huge. Safe to say Trump winning has a lot to do with that. And Dogecoin. It's back at prices we haven't seen since that 2021 boom. Musk's tweets definitely have something to do with that, too.
It's crazy how much power these guys have to move the market, for good or bad. Remember when Musk got sued for manipulating Dogecoin? Didn't go anywhere, but still.
Yeah, that lawsuit brought up some important questions. When does someone's opinion become market manipulation? It's a tricky line when one tweet can affect millions of investors.
Yeah, really complex issue, especially with crypto becoming more mainstream. As things move forward, we got to figure out the ethics and the laws around all this. It's changing so fast.
It all comes back to this Musk-Trump connection, right? Musk campaigned for Trump, now he's advising him.
And that could be the key to figuring out what happens with crypto regulation in the U.S. Is Musk going to push for big changes that make things easier for crypto?
That's the big question, and one we'll be digging into much deeper after a quick word from our sponsors. We'll be back to explore what this alliance means, what challenges and opportunities are out there, and what it all means for crypto in the US and beyond.
So we were talking about Dogecoin's flat inflation. You explained how it works. New coins at a set rate each year, unlike regular currencies. But you said some economists don't think that's actually good.
Yeah, you mentioned some potential downsides. What's the argument against it?
Okay, so the people who like flat inflation, especially with crypto, they talk about sound money. Like Musk, they think a limited supply, predictable, that makes it hold value better over time.
So Dogecoin wouldn't lose value as fast as the dollar. That's the idea.
Exactly. With Dogecoin, you know how many new coins are coming each year? So in theory, it should stay more stable.
But what's the other side of that argument? You said some economists have problems with this model.
Right. They say this flat inflation thing, it could actually make it harder for Dogecoin to grow compared to currencies that can adjust. Like, what if the economy goes crazy up or down?
So a fixed rate wouldn't work well if things change too fast, could cause problems.
Right. But with a flexible policy, like central banks have, they can change how much money's out there to help the economy.
Makes sense. So Dogecoin's flat inflation, maybe it's good for predictability, but it also has limits.
It's a trade-off for sure. What's the best inflation for any currency? That's a big debate in crypto and regular economics.
It's cool to see these debates happening in the crypto world. Everything feels so new and experimental.
Totally. Which brings us back to this question.
Yeah.
Are these meme coins, like Dogecoin, are they just a fad or are they going to become something bigger?
We touched on that earlier. They're definitely part of internet culture. Those communities can really pump up prices.
No doubt. Look at Dogecoin after Musk's tweet, classic example. But lots of people say these meme coins, they don't have the tech, the real use cases that serious crypto has, like Bitcoin or Ethereum.
They see them as just like gambling chips, all hype, no real value.
And honestly, there's some truth to that. Lots of meme coins, they start as a joke or a quick cash grab, no plan, no real team behind them.
Super risky then. People could lose a lot of money if they buy into the hype and it crashes.
Exactly. But not all meme coins are the same. Some, like Dogecoin, they've built real communities, and they're trying to find uses for it beyond just trading.
So you're saying they could evolve, become something more than just a meme.
It's possible. We're already seeing them used for small payments, tipping online creators, even charity donations.
So there's potential for real-world use, not just getting rich quick schemes.
Right. And as blockchain tech keeps getting better, who knows what's next? Maybe they'll be part of payment systems, those decentralized finance things, even whole new economies.
That's pretty exciting. But it's important to remember we're still early in this whole crypto thing. There's a lot we don't know, a lot of challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Regulation, making it work for lots of people, security, getting regular folks to use it. Those are all big hurdles. But there's so much innovation, so much interest. Crypto is here to stay, that's for sure.
Feels like we're at a crossroads. What we decide now about rules, development, ethics, that's going to shape the future of all this.
You got it. The next few years are going to be crucial. Will crypto live up to its potential, change finance forever, or will it get bogged down by all these problems?
And that brings us back to Musk and Trump. We talked about how they influence the market on their own, but what happens when they work together, especially in the US?
That's the question, isn't it? With Musk pushing for crypto, maybe advising Trump on policy, we could see big changes in how the U.S. regulates all this.
But like we said before, there are risks too. Less regulation could mean more danger for investors, maybe destabilize the whole market.
You're right, it's a delicate balance, and we don't know how it'll play out. But one thing's certain, the crypto world is watching very closely.
And I'm sure our listeners are just as curious to see what happens when these two powerful figures team up. What could it mean for the future of crypto? We'll be back after the break to explore those possibilities. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? Bitcoin going crazy, Musk still hyping up Dogecoin, Trump back in office, and now Musk's advising him. Feels like the whole crypto world is about to change.
Definitely a lot going on. And, we got to talk about the big thing looming over all of this regulation. What's going to happen with crypto rules in the next few years? That's the million-dollar question.
Right. We were talking about Trump maybe making things easier for crypto with Musk in his ear, so to speak. But what could that actually look like? What kind of changes should we expect?
Well, one area where we could see some real action is taxes. Right now, the IRS treats crypto like it's property, which is a nightmare, especially for regular folks just starting out.
Yeah, the tax stuff can be a real headache, even for people who've been in crypto for a while. Making it simpler could definitely bring more people in.
For sure. There's been some talk in Washington about new laws that would treat crypto more like regular money for taxes. Could streamline things a lot, make it way more appealing to everyone.
That would be huge for the industry. Anything else on the regulatory front that could shake things up?
Keep an eye on stable coins. Those are the ones pegged to the dollar. Supposed to be less volatile.
Right, they're getting really popular, kind of like a bridge between the old financial system and the crypto world. But there are worries, right, about how stable they actually are, whether they could mess things up.
Exactly. So regulators are trying to figure out what to do about them. We might see tougher rules about the reserves behind them, more scrutiny of the companies that make them.
So lots of uncertainty around regulation, but it's definitely going to have a big impact on the market no matter what happens.
No doubt about it. Regulation's tricky. It can bring stability and attract big money, which is good.
But if they go too far, make too many rules, it could stifle innovation and drive crypto development out of the U.S.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot, that's the challenge. It'll be interesting to see how the government tackles this.
Okay, let's go back to meme coins for a minute.
Mm.
We were talking about how they might evolve beyond just hype, become something more useful, but what would that look like in the real world?
Well, first, we need better technology and more real-world uses. Meme coins got to be more than just tokens for trading or online communities.
They got to solve problems, offer real value.
Right. Like imagine using a meme coin to make payments across borders instantly, cheaper and faster. Or a platform for creators where they get paid directly in meme coins by their fans.
That's pretty cool. So basically, meme coins have to prove they're more than just a joke, even if that's how they started.
Yeah, exactly. Show us what they can really do.
It feels like we're at a turning point for crypto. More and more people are using it, big companies are getting involved, and governments are trying to figure out how to regulate it.
Definitely. It's impossible to predict what's next. But the choices we make in the next few years will determine whether crypto lives up to its potential, really changes the world.
So, what's the takeaway for our listeners? What should they keep in mind as they explore this wild world of crypto?
I'd say the most important thing is to be curious, but also cautious. Keep learning about crypto, but don't get caught up in the hype.
Do your research, know the risks, and don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly. And remember, this world changes fast. What looks like a fad today could be the next big thing tomorrow.
This has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of crypto. We've discussed the influence of big players like Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the potential of meme coins, and the challenges of regulation. It's a lot to think about.
It's been great exploring all this with you and our listeners. Hopefully we've given everyone some food for thought and maybe sparked a little more interest in this incredible technology.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explore the constantly evolving world of cryptocurrency. Until next time, stay curious and keep on learning.